Oftentimes, the world's oldest civilizations were built next to rivers for the purpose of freshwater, fishing, irrigation, and protection. This happened to be the case with many of the oldest cities in China. But what can happen when these rivers flood? In the year of 1931, central China experienced a devastating flood. It affected the lives of an estimated 52 million people and killed an estimated 2 to 4 million. The flooding was mainly from the Yangtze River, but also occurred in the rivers Huai and the Yellow River. It affected an area of 72,000 square kilometers, roughly equivalent to the area of England plus half of Scotland. But what could have caused such a devastating flood? Well, it mainly was both a combination of human activities and natural forces. Agriculture played a main role in the cause of the flood because wetlands and forests that usually serve as natural protection from flooding were destroyed for agricultural use. The government also played a role in the cause of the flood. Government programs in charge of monitoring the river were not able to do their job properly due to wars, rebellions, and political turmoil happening at that time. Levees and dams used to control the rivers were also therefore built incorrectly, and many collapsed, exacerbating the flooding. Natural forces that led to the flood were mainly excess precipitation and snowfall in the years leading up to the flood, and a record amount of cyclones that same year. In the winter of 1930 through 31, record snowfall hit the mountains, followed by a spring of drenching rains. China was hit by a record 7 cyclones that same year. The melting snow and precipitation were too much for the rivers to handle, and they overflowed onto the surrounding areas. The impacts of the flood were disastrous. Diseases, starvation, and drowning were the main causes of death. Cholera, measles, malaria, and dysentery resulted from the breakdown of sanitation following the flood, and measles and smallpox spread from widespread overcrowding. About 70% of deaths in the rural population were from disease, and 87% of the deaths in refugee camps were from disease, which makes disease the #1 cause of deaths from the flood. Ongoing political conflict as well as destruction of farms made it hard to obtain and distribute food. In some conflict zones, starvation was so prevalent that people had to resort to cannibalism. It is estimated that around 150,000 people drowned from the initial stage of the flood. Around 40% of the affected population was forced to leave their homes, and entire cities were destroyed. The homeless were then left to succumb to diseases. Economic losses were about 1.5 years' income per family. China tried to recover from the disaster with acts such as the Monumental Relief Project, in which 1 million workers were employed to reconstruct levees. International donations of food and money also helped, but many people still had to resort to desperate strategies such as stealing, begging, and prostitution to survive in the years to come. The China flood is widely regarded as the most devastating water-related disaster in history, and reminded the world of the devastating effects that flooding can have. Thank you, and here are the sources for the pictures that I used.